Welcome, everybody. I'm joined by Jonathan from Cardmill. He has a new gadget, machine, something that he is launching on Kickstarter in about 2 weeks, and we're here to talk about it. It helps sort your cards. Jonathan, I'd love to learn more about your device, but also I want to know how many hours do you think you've spent sorting and organizing your cards? Is it like more or less than 2 full days of your life?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And thanks so much, Matt, for having me join. But yeah, it's been at least 2 full days of my life I've spent sorting. Actually, funny you say that. As soon when we bought our house and moved a few years ago, I went through a process of trying to sort my cards. And I think I was down there for a couple weeks going through, and I had piles and piles of cards sitting on tables, and I never had enough tables.
I mean, I think it's not just the time, but also as you get older, it's the ache in your back, right? That never really goes
Yeah.
away, and you're like, why am I kind of like hunched? So
Yeah. Yep.
I found your device, Cardmill, which is a sort of automatic sorter, and I was so intrigued, and I reached out, and so you are the founder of the company, and so
Yeah.
I thanks for chatting with me. I'm really excited for this Kickstarter and to kind of learn a bit more. So first off, where did this idea come from? Who are you? Where did you come
Yeah.
from
Oh,
on this
wow. That's
planet Earth?
Yeah, no, thanks so much for that. It's a pretty loaded question, but I actually started playing Magic the Gathering back in the early '90s when it first came out with a lot of my friends, and over the years, I had some times where periods where I was playing a lot and then I wasn't playing a lot, and picked back up maybe about 10, 15 years ago now with some of my friends, and from there it's been kind of been history, collecting and playing, going to tournaments, and we get together on a weekly basis now to play Magic, and that's kind of where all this started. We not only are we players, but we also do a whole lot of trading, right? And so one of the biggest pain points that I would have when I'm going to trade or when I get new cards is trying to give visibility to other people of the cards that I've received. So, I could sit there and I could manually scan each individual card with, my phone, or I could sit there and type each individual card into a web portal. And I said to myself, there has to be a better way to do this. And so I started on a hunt to find a machine or something that I just wanted to buy, something cheap that could, help me organize my collection, or at least get it digitally cataloged. And the machines that I found were just, they were expensive. They were way more expensive than, an everyday player like myself, would be able to afford, or that I was really willing to afford. Or they also just had a lot of high or recurring monthly fees. And it was just something that didn't make sense for me. And being a software developer by trade, I set out on this project. I'm just like, I can probably build something. So I put my software engineering skills to use, did a lot of research, pulled out the old Legos and some leftover motors, and put together my first prototype about now about a year and a half ago.
So I got a few images here, and I'll share these throughout
Yeah.
the video. But I just want to kind of pop up. This
Yeah.
is the product that I guess this is
Mhm.
beyond prototype. This is what is going up on Kickstarter here.
Right.
Um, do you want to kind of walk us through what we're looking at here? So I see the loading tray on the top there, and maybe
Of
like
course.
actually five, or there's a lot more than five kind of slots to sort it into, maybe like 20 slots there. So I'm interested to see what happens.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, as you said, there's the loading tray, or the loading section, or the hopper up at the top right of the image. So an individual will load their cards in, and then we use a very soft neoprene type of rubber, a non-abrasive rubber, to be able to move each individual card from the stack into the chamber, and that's the area that's inside the green case right there. And inside there is sort of where all the magic happens. So at the top, we'll have there's a camera at the top that will take a picture of the card and then sends that information up to our API network that then analyzes the card and makes the determination of what to do. Now, of course, throughout the process, when someone goes to actually start the machine, they've selected how they want to sort, or if they want to sort and scan, or scan only. And so some of those decisions will impact what the machine is doing. But at the core of it, we're taking the image of the card and then we're identifying what card it is, returning that information to the card mill that will then move that tray that's at the bottom to a certain position to be able to set the card into it. And one of the nice things about the way that we're moving the card on the inside is that we have minimal touch to the card to be able to help protect the cards while they're being moved from the system. So the most touch is really from when we're moving the card from the hopper to the chamber, and then we just use a conveyor type system to essentially glide the card along through the chamber, and then use gravity to gently place the card into the sorting tray. Now, the sorting tray that you see here is a alphabetical sorting tray, but even on the Kickstarter, we will offer a tray that has 13 slots for sorting by set, color type, things like that, as well as a scan-only tray that will just be, one big tray if someone only is looking to scan their cards, not really looking to sort them. That won't have any dividers necessarily, but they'll be able to fill the whole tray with all their scanned-in cards.
This is really interesting to me because I think you guys are hitting sort of this gap in the market, because I've also looked at these card scanners, and when you say they're expensive, like they are like $30,000 expensive. It is not possible
some of them can
for,
be. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a random person with that buys whatever 2 or 3 booster boxes a month, a quarter, that just has the corner of 5,000 count boxes to ever kind of like keep up. It's just not economical. And this is something that's sort of that middle of the road. So how many cards can it actually scan in like an hour or so? Or what's the hopper there as kind of capacity?
Yeah, so the hopper there can hold up to 300 cards at any given time. But of course, you can keep adding cards to it, right? It's not like it's going to process 300 and then stop. But the hopper will hold, to start, it'll hold 300 cards. And we are also going to provide an option on the Kickstarter for a hopper extender that will sit on top of the machine that will add an additional 500 cards. So those are for some of the power scanners and sorters that want to be able to do more of the set and forget it. Just kind of put the cards in and go to work or do whatever else they need to do. But the 300 card hopper, currently it takes about 1 hour to complete processing through the 300 cards. We are going to be making some mechanical changes to the movement of the sled. So one of the cool things about engineering and prototyping is that we make decisions and then we learn how to improve those decisions kind of as we go. So when we built the machine, we built it thinking we needed some more precision in placement or movement of the sled. So we used a similar gear system as would be seen on a 3D printer, where the 3D printer is moving up and down. You really need to have a very precise location of the plate to know how to do your 3D printing, right? So we use a very similar system to that, but the side effect of that is that it takes a lot longer to move the tray from one end of the machine to the other end of the machine. And we discovered that we don't need the level of precision that was affording us. And so one of the first things we're going to do after the Kickstarter is we're making some changes to that movement. And we believe that we can cut that down to about 30-40 minutes to be able to process that 300 card hopper. So that's roughly about 10 cards per second, something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's great. So there's an option here. So you choose on your menu. You can do either just scan, or just sort, or you can do scan and sort. So
right,
that's like the best of both worlds in like my bulk.
Yeah.
Like, God, if you could see the piles next to me, they're like terrifying. They haunt me. Unsorted cards. But what happens to the scan? So it goes up into your piece of software, and then from there, can you download to it like an Excel file, or upload it to various platforms?
Absolutely. Yep. So you hit it right on the head. So all the information is going to be stored in our database that the each owner of a Cardmill will be able to have access to a web portal where they'll then be able to see all of the cards and all the data that has been scanned into through the machines, through one machine or multiple machines, of course. And then from there, the individual can download a CSV file of all of the card data and the details of the cards that have been scanned, and use those CSV files for import into tools like, Mana Box or Architect, a TCG Player, things like that. So we'll provide specific exports that are targeted for those individual platforms, so it'll be easy to be able to import them directly into those systems for wherever someone wants to store their collection. Because we when we set out to build Cardmill, our goal was not to build a collection tracker, and we are inherently doing that just by the mere function. And it's going to be a great, the platform is great, and everyone's going to be able to use it as a collection tracker. But our goal has not been to replace the existing tools out there. Our goal has been to provide a tool to get cards into a collection tracker, and whether someone wants to use ours or another one will really be up to them, on how each individual player prefers to keep their collection organized digitally, of course.
So I'm guessing that the cards go in unsleeved, right? I think this is a point of controversy with a lot of people that get very nervous about taking their rares out of. I mean, you're a Magic player, know that fear.
I know. Yeah.
So unsleeved go in that hopper, and then they come out unharmed.
Correct. Right. Yeah. It's we've taken a lot of care to ensure the safety of the cards as they're being processed through the machine. So as I was mentioning earlier, we use a very soft, non-abrasive rubber to be able to move the card from one spot to another. And we're not just whipping it through there, right? We're taking care, and we're gently sliding and gliding it over, and then just moving it on a conveyor system so that we're not sitting there touching it at all different points, right? It's not going through a whole bunch of rollers. It's not being touched at a whole bunch of points. The only touch point where we're putting any pressure on the card is the movement from the hopper into the chamber, and we've done that as a means to ensure the safety of the cards, because our goal has always been to ensure that even the penny cards are protected. But I should also say that you can use perfect fit sleeves, or inner sleeves do work successfully in the machine. The challenge with the traditional or the larger sleeves is really there's such a variation in the gloss or the sheen on them, or in the size of them, that it's very difficult to build something for all of them. And maybe that's something we'll look at in the future, but this iteration will support perfect fit sleeves for individuals that want to have that extra layer of protection, or of course unsleeved cards.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So the Kickstarter is launching July 22nd, 9 a.m. Central Time. That's nice representation of Central Time, the most forgotten time zone next to Mountain View. So it is $350 for the first 1,000 people. $350 might sound like a lot, but I mean, I think of the amount of hours I would have to pay like a neighborhood kid to sort my cards, right? And it's at least like 100 hours, and you can't pay the kids $3 an hour anymore. So I think that
they're wanting $25 an hour now. Yeah, you're not getting anyone for $3 an hour.
So, I mean, I think this is an interesting, if you're thinking about 300 cards in an hour, you could do a long box of whatever, 800 cards and an afternoon, and that's just passive, right? Which is a really nice thing. All you have to do is kind of just load them in while you're watching a movie or whatever. I think that there's a nice small business proposition if you're trying to be a small TCG player, which I'm not. I'm not trying to be that guy. I have no interest in going to the post office 30 times a week. But,
it works for some, but not for all. Yeah, but I'm the same way. I did a little bit of selling on TCG Player for a little while, and I'm like, this isn't for me. This isn't my thing, and that's fine. It just wasn't my jam. But for someone who does do this and wants to be able to have that organization, or and not just the organization, but even the scanning and the digital inventory, right? This is a tool to be able to help supplement and support their efforts. And the nowadays a pack of, or not pack, but a premium box of Magic cards costs about $350 $400 as well, right? So, I'm not encouraging anyone to bypass the purchase of, the next set of cards, because we all know that we can't live without them. But what I am encouraging is, to potentially use and invest in a tool that can help, save time, because, our time is valuable too. And it takes time to sort cards. It takes time to scan and catalog cards, and I think we can
I
do
100% agree. I have like this idea for a project to do like a Maslow's hierarchy of needs for
it.
cards, right? Like the basic
Yeah.
is like getting a game in, right? And then like you
Yeah.
kind of go up, and then that self-actualization at the top of the pyramid is
Yeah.
like having your cards organized in a way that brings you peace. Like,
It's amazing. So, I mentioned earlier about the piles of cards that I had when I was trying to do some initial organization.
literally right here. This is just
Right. Yeah.
next to me.
I've got some packs of cards right here. I'm playing around with some foreign language cards, right? And they're just sitting on my desk. I have a box of the Final Fantasy set here that I haven't even cataloged or gone through, because I've been so busy trying to prepare for this Kickstarter. But with my I got a new shelf maybe about a month or so ago. And it was so exciting to reorganize all of my stuff. I'm like, and decide, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put all my pre-cons down here, all my, unopened stuff here. Here's all my sorted cards, and then here's all the stuff at eye's length that's not sorted. And I'm like, oh man, there's a lot. Even with my Cardmill, right? I still have a ton of unsorted stuff that eventually I'll get through.
This is actually why, as I've gotten a little bit older and had a little more disposable income, I've actually moved to more premium products like collector boosters or Carbonite with Star Wars Unlimited, whatever. It's just nice to not have 2,000 bulk cards, because I just don't have a way of ever utilizing that many cards.
Yeah.
I just don't need whatever 19 of really bad commons and uncommons.
Yeah. Well, me and my friends will challenge ourselves to build, decks, popper decks a lot. So, we primarily play Commander, but we'll build, popper Commander decks all the time. And there was one time where I built a deck, and I realized that the sleeves I put the cards into were worth more than the cards themselves. I think the whole deck, when I put it into my digital inventory, the whole deck itself, I think was about like $4 or $5, right? And the sleeve, they're Dragon Shield sleeves, so they're what now, like $10, something like that. But they were more expensive, and I was just like, well, that is interesting. That's not what I expected.
I was doing this calculation recently of like Magic Path, like pack of alpha or beta. It was, I believe, $279 or $299, depending.
Okay.
And with inflation, that is essentially $6, right? Which is basically the same exact price as like a pack.
That's fascinating. Yeah.
In a store, and it just reminds you that like this hobby was never cheap. Right, like it was never really affordable to do any of this stuff. Like a booster box with inflation is basically the same exact price.
That's fascinating. I'd never actually thought about looking into that, but I mean, even now, I'm an adult with somewhat extra money. I mean, I do have a young child that takes up most of that, but it's still I don't buy nearly as much cards as I would like to and as I would want to. It is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's like there's this narrative that this became an expensive hobby, but I think that like it's true. It's always been expensive. Even penny sleeves haven't been like a penny a piece. They're like $1.50 or something for 100.
Right. Well, it's like the dollar store, right? I remember when I was a kid, I was my son's age, and my parents took me to the dollar store once, and I don't know why I remember this memory, but my mom gave me $1. Right. And I walked around the whole store. I think I spent a good, 5-10 minutes, maybe more, trying to pick out that one thing that I wanted for $1. I found it and I went to go buy it, and it was like $1.08. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I sat there and I argued with her. I'm like, this is the dollar store. This can't be more. And as I knew nothing about taxes at the time. Right. But, it's nothing's as it seems, I guess. Right.
No. So we got a little off topic there, but your Kickstarter, which is exciting, like congratulations, you guys getting up there.
Thank you.
So it's 350 for the early birds, the first 1,000, that's gonna move to 400. This is a made in the USA product, right? So this
It
is
is.
also
Yep.
something to be, I think, pretty proud of. I will say on a
Absolutely.
patriotism scale, I'm like a 9 out of 10. Like I'm not like I don't have a pet eagle, but like I think it's great to be making this stuff in the US to be, that
Yeah.
supply chain. If you want to talk about that a little bit, like how did you
Sure.
figure out how to make this in the US?
Well, to be honest, our original plan was to have this manufactured in China, and that was from the beginning. It was I was talking with a Chinese manufacturing partner, had everything lined up. I never signed anything, of course, because I was I'm still way too early in the development stage and prototyping, and it was like, okay, well, we have you lined up. We'll went through the whole process of how it works and everything, and it sounded super exciting, right? Building a product and talking to I think my contact was in Canada, but he worked with the Chinese factories, and it was very exciting. And then fast forward a year and a half, and there's so much uncertainty around tariffs and costs, and really it forced us to kind of need to rethink really what we're doing, right, and why we're doing it. And the truth is that we are players, we're part of the community, and we thought that it would be best to start looking at building a product that is where our community lives, right? So we all live outside of the Chicagoland area, and so we started exploring manufacturers and partners in the area. And we, with some of the unknowns of what tariffs may or may not be, eventually when we would get ready to start manufacturing the units, we discovered that it would just be more expensive to go overseas. And to some degree, that was actually kind of a blessing. I always wanted to be able to build the product in the U.S., but at the time it was cost prohibitive. And now it's really cost prohibitive to go overseas. So it was a happy stance, and a good situation, I think, that it put us in, because now we can we're going to be able to support our local community, support the local factories and the workers, and most likely people that we see or run into, and hopefully other people that are players and collectors themselves can be part of actually building and manufacturing and assembling and putting together the Cardmill for our backers.
That's great. I think it's really wonderful that you're investing in the community, especially if you found distributors or producers, manufacturers, whatever the right word is, in the area. It's not like you're going even outside,
Right.
to a different state or something, or different, vastly
Right.
outside the area. Out of curiosity, what's so? I feel like we haven't hit the big one. So we talked about Magic, but what games is this going to cover?
Sure.
Like what games can you scan with this product?
So currently we've tested and we've confirmed support for Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Flesh and Blood, Disney Lorcana, and Star Wars Unlimited. Next on the list, we've got so many of them, but One Piece, Dragon Ball, Digimon are just a few that are on our list. I believe that MetaZoo is on that list, as well as the Final Fantasy TCG. So we've been doing a lot of research on what some of the most popular TCGs are, and we've always known that One Piece was one of the biggest ones. And we just when we were going to announce our additional support, and we kind of had a hard deadline of, okay, we need to stop implementing new TCGs, and we need to shift focus to the Kickstarter. We're just like, okay, well, let's not rush One Piece. Let's make sure that we do it right and we can support it properly, and then we'll announce it. But we are planning to be able to support those additional ones that I mentioned by day one. We're going to have a bit of a period from when the Kickstarter ends to the time when the units are being delivered and in hand to individuals. So we're going to spend not only that time not only manufacturing, assembling, and testing the units, but then also continuing with software development and continuing with TCG support. And from there, we'll work with the community to really see what what other games they want to be able to support on it. Eventually, we'll go to support sports collectibles, but that's a whole nother ball game, pun intended.
Yeah.
And we're planning to look into that in 2026. Hopefully sooner than later. But we want to do trading card games right, and we want to do it well, and not divert too much of our focus away from that, and provide a product that the community that we can stand behind, and the community can be proud to use.
I think that's a really good approach. I mean, that the sports stuff, it's so interesting because I used to think it was like who collected sports cards, and it turns out it's everybody's dad and grandpa who collect sports cards. Right? Like,
Yeah, and there's so much out there, right? Like the collector population, for sports cards, I think is equal to, if not more than, the trading card games. Like
I think it's like
massive.
a magnitude bigger, actually. Like
Right.
at least from a sales perspective, right? Like I think the sports market is a much bigger. I think Magic is catching up and Pokemon's catching up. I think adding new games is great, and you've hit like the big five right there. I think that's probably 85 to 90% of the games people are playing, if not more. I'd love to have some of my kind of retro out of print stuff added at some point, but that's probably a very small group of people that care about having files in there. But
send us a note. Yeah, let us know what those are. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, if there's no new sets coming out, it's just I think it should be easier to, like, it's just out there. It's all there.
Right. Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
So when can they get these in the mail? Like, when can we have the exciting mail day of ripping this open?
So there's going to be a lot that is happening between now and getting them in hand, right? And if I can talk about that a little bit, that'd be great. But so we're going to do the Kickstarter from July 22nd through August 21st. Yep. And then from there, we're going to do some of the mechanical changes that we were talking about a little bit earlier. At the same time, we're going to start getting some of the molds in place for creating all of the components and the shells. We're gonna get parts ordered. Like I think I remember talking with my guys. I'm like, I'm very much looking forward to placing an order for like 10,000 screws, right? Little things like that, right? And we're gonna start like ordering everything and getting everything together for the assembly team, and then. So that's going to go from about August to September, and then from September to October, we're going to be doing a lot of assembly and testing as well. And ultimately, we're planning to start delivering units in December. So we're hoping to get them in hands of the backers before the end of the year.
That's going to be quite a Christmas present.
Right, and it's going to be quite a feat too, right? I mean, there's a lot, and honestly, we hope that the Kickstarter is wildly successful. We've been having some tremendous feedback from the community, which has been phenomenal to be able to see and talk to everyone when everyone's been asking questions and providing feedback and sharing their excitement. It's really been cool to see how excited the community is for this, and we don't yet know exactly how many units are going to be ordered, but we're always hoping for more, because the more that the more units we can make initially, the cheaper everything gets, which means the better quality that we can do, right? And I've also have always said from the beginning that I'd rather spend more on a good quality product than I care, to make, as much of a profit off of it. But of course, some of that profit goes to actually funding the company, funding the software development, funding everything. So yeah, there's a lot to do, and it's very exciting between now and then.
So I don't think, since we are talking 2 weeks before the Kickstarter, there shouldn't be this situation where people miss it. But if they do miss it, you're going to, I guess, have a run of this product maybe like this time next year. It'll probably be available for like retail purchase.
Probably sooner than that as well. So there's going to be a couple opportunities to be able to pick up a product, and we're not looking to do a one run and be done with it type of thing. So we're going to do the initial, we're going to do the initial Kickstarter run. Between the Kickstarter to when we do the actual final production order, there'll be a period there for anyone that may have missed it as well, or was maybe thinking about it, wants to be what Kickstarter calls a late backer. So there'll be an opportunity for late backers to join in as well, and get in on that first run. Then we're going to maybe slow down a little bit and make sure that we get the units in hand, get the units to the people, and make sure that it's working properly for everyone. And then once we've validated that everyone has received the machine, that everything's working properly, then we'll probably make some more orders, or take some more we'll make more orders for more machines, or take orders from individuals who want to get on the next thing. So we're hoping to be able to continue pumping these out for individuals, so they don't have to wait too long. But of course, we could use all the support we can get on the actual Kickstarter as early as we can get it, because that will cement the long-term success, I think, of the Cardmill as we move into the rest of the year and into 2026.
Well, Jonathan, I'm really excited to see where things go. I will be monitoring the Kickstarter. For folks interested, a link to the Kickstarter and more information on Cardmill is in the show notes. You click that and view more. This is something I think will be kind of great for the community to get more products out there, more variety. And I'm really happy to hear that it's kind of coming from guys from the community. It's not outside. You guys are not a corporation or subsidiary of I don't know what Evil Company is.
We're like Evil Company, 1, 2, 3 ABC, right? Nope, we're collectors, we are players, we are deck builders, we're moderators of Magic the Gathering Facebook groups, and we do trading online with hundreds of people a year, right? We are not backed by any venture capital firms. This is all we've bootstrapped everything that we can, and with the Kickstarter community's support, we'll really be able to take this to the next level.
And that's the stuff I love to hear. So I'm looking forward to staying in touch, Jonathan. Best of luck with your venture, folks. Check out his Kickstarter, and we'll be back maybe with a follow-up, maybe with something in hand down the road to check out, scan some cards. So
absolutely.
We'll catch you guys later and check out the Kickstarter.
Cool. Thank you so much, Matt.